the reason that these games are getting increasingly better and better in quality is because the beautiful thing about round robin is the order does not necessarily matter, at least, you know, when you're in the same bracket. But this was one of those games that I clicked a move and it made me question what I was doing with my life. Like, it was that level of deep-seated regret. Like, I came out of the womb and I was like, I did not think 25 years later I was gonna regret clicking something on a fucking Nintendo DS screen as bad as I did in this moment. There's, like, this video is way longer than it should be for, you know, a couple of reasons, and he played the situation out very, very well. So kudos to him. This is against my good friend Alex, and we always get into these fucking shenanigans. Every game we have, I don't think we've ever necessarily even had a bad, like, hacks-filled game, and even if we do, we usually just shrug it off, so everything's great. I think this is actually a Silk Scarf Kangaskhan, which I think he was one of the only people actually running a Kangaskhan in this tournament. Back it has fallen to the depths of NU, but we shall definitely not forget what Kangaskhan did for everybody. The fact that its Megastone is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, it doing that well in Ubers. But he's going to go for a power-up punch right now just because it is a nice thing that Kangaskhan needed, you know, some fighting coverage and whatnot. But I'm going to go for a Psyshock right here, actually kind of expecting him to, I don't know. I'm trying to keep in mind, like, where the speed tiers are at, but he goes for a Sucker Punch right here, just ends up knocking me out. Kangaskhan's still pretty good. Kangaskhan is still pretty good. Do not sleep on it. I do have something that can outpace it in the form of Scyther with Quick Attack, which I think he might actually expect. And, no, I guess he didn't. But I did go for that to dodge a Sucker Punch, so that's fine. The one thing I did notice on his team is that he did have a Malamar, which is something to keep in mind for later. If anything, I actually injected his Pokemon a little bit before, so I know a decent amount of their sets. But he still plays it out very well, on top of the fact that I have horrible short-term memory. I don't really necessarily remember anything beyond what he had. And I know that this thing is special defensive just based off of that information, but even with that information, I'm still kind of curious as to how much a Scald is going to do to a Camerupt, especially if it's, you know, Stab. So he doesn't really feel like testing the water yet. He wants to keep it as fresh of HP as possible. This was scary. This was the turn. This is the freaking turn. So he goes for freaking... God damn it. God damn it. So he goes for Stealth Rock to coax out the defog from me because he knows I do not want Stealth Rock on the field for Scyther. And I have to go out to Scyther right now to take a superpower, and he subs, and things are not going my way at all. There is a really good chance I could miss a U-turn on the sub and lose my Scyther, and I think that ends up happening. He goes for a knockoff right here. I'm not sure whether or not this actually does knock me out. It doesn't. I actually keep it at a decent amount of HP, but god damn it. God fucking damn it. I'm so mad at that. Like, I really wish I could express how, like, truly, truly upset I was that I missed a fucking U-turn on a sub. If I'd have missed another one, I probably would have just walked away from there, because this is definitely about that rage-inducing. And now I definitely have to keep rocks off the field, because if rocks get on the field somehow, and this thing is still around, it's a huge setback for me to try to defog him. I'm not going to try to do that, but this thing is going to come back in, I'm going to come back in with this thing, because it's like the next bulky thing I have, and I have to pray to hit all of my Scalds, and also not... I have to not miss any Scalds, essentially, and that's such a weird thing to say, but he missed. I missed one. I'm like, god damn it, no, I can't deal with this right now. My own evasion shit from there is really biting me in the ass, just because of contrary, you know, lowering evade or defog lowering evasion normally, and then because of contrary, that's why it's really cool that Superior can work with teams that respond well to defogging and sticky web, like Bisharp, you know, when it gets its speed lowered or its evasion lowered, it can just get a +2 with that. And then Superior directly benefits from any of the other things, as well as any other contrary users. They will get raises instead. So Superior, if your opponent gets sticky web up, is a sweeping force in nature. And if you bring it in on a defog, this shit happens basically, but in a different tier. So he's making the smart play, and I don't actually blame him at all for this. which is actually just going to be to try to sub until I miss, because it has a very, very good chance of that happening. Well, better than it did before, because it's called a set. Well, not set accuracy, but it's 100% accurate. So under normal circumstances that aren't this fucking battle, I shouldn't miss one, you know? The ideal thing I have going on here, the other thing I realized, I did have fucking air lace on Scyther. That was definitely true, but I thought by pivoting, I don't know. I definitely should have gone for air lace with that in mind. I was just scared of this thing having rock slide because I fucking forgot about it. He didn't have enough HP to make a sub, and it turns out I missed right there. Whew. Whew. Jesus, guys, I cannot tell you how scared I got from that. I think he just goes for a superpower on this one to try to knock me out. And wouldn't you know, he does this thing. This thing's reign of terror is almost over. As long as I can connect one more attack on this damn thing before it sets up a sub, I should be golden. But that was like 25% of this game was me going into panic mode, trying to figure out what the hell I was going to do about it. I decide eventually I'm just going to go into Scyther now. And the aerial ace plan was in my mind, don't get me wrong. But he's got a couple of defense boosts. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to take him out from that range, especially because I don't have my choice band anymore. He knocked it off. I have to go for a U-turn and pray that it knocks him out from there. And I mean, it definitely will, because it's 4 times super effective. But in aerial ace being neutral, you know, I had my doubts. I'm pretty sure they were pretty legitimate doubts. He decides to go out in his Vileplume right now, and I'm actually going to Volt Switch out into my Regice because I know these things do get Sleep Powder. They like to take advantage of it fairly often. On top of that, Regice is very special defensive. I should be able to take on anything this thing wants to go for on me, and just fire off some specs, Sleep Talks, and see what I end up rolling. So he goes for it. It's nice that I have status fodder in the form of this thing, especially for Sleep Powder. And I'm just going to go for it and hope that I hit the Ice Beam. It's not going to be in my favor, but to be fair, he does not know what I'm going to go for on the Sleep Talk. So there's actually fairly good odds that I could end up hitting the Focus Blast here too, which is what I'm also praying for. But the odds are a little bit better because if I hit an Ice Beam or a T-Bolt, that's fine. I do hit a T-Bolt in this one. I'm able to do a good amount of damage to it. So he predicted wrong, but then again, I didn't necessarily really know what to predict either. Like, what the fuck, guys? Like, how do you predict anything this thing wants to go for? You don't. But I think I Sleep Talk a Focus Blast on this one, which is a little bit unfortunate. But I do get the paralysis off the T-Bolt. Let's talk about that for a second. That was not something either of us expected. That is where the game just really becomes a hard YOLO. This thing, oh my god, if I could make a Regice like mixed drink, I would call it the hard YOLO probably, and just make it like a solid icicle sticking up out of the bottom of the glass, and just pour your drink around it, and just put like little mini tiny glasses on the front of the glass. That sounds fun. I'm not sure what would necessarily be in it, but we could probably put like some blue Curacao for Ice Beam, and then shit, I don't know, maybe tequila for Thunderbolt. And then, I don't know what for Focus Blast. Mixologist definitely hit me up on that one, because that would help. But I can clean this thing out with a Thunderbolt. That's fine from there. Even if I didn't get it paralyzed, as long as I got some prior damage on it, I'm pretty sure Helios would have been able to take it out. Slash, if I had gotten a safe switch into Scyther, I could have just knocked it off, now that it was paralyzed. Or I could have risked a Speed Tie. That could have been a thing. So I'm going to Volt Switch out again into Regice. I know he's probably not going to want to Sleep Powder me again, because now that he sees that I have Spec Sleep Talk, and I just don't give a shit about Sleep Powder, I'm just going to fire off straight Ice Beams. I should be able to take on just about any hit he wants to go for. My big concern here is if he poisons me, he can't put me to sleep anymore, which is kind of whatever. I think it's at this point in the game that he also realizes that he has nothing that really necessarily wants to take a Specs Ice Beam. Ice is a very, very good offensive type, and he tries to Moonlight back up to full expecting to take it, or maybe he thought he was going to be slower. I don't know. I personally think he could have killed me off from there and just avoided this outcome entirely, where a Specs Ice Beam is just able to clean this thing out. It's very rare for something to one-shot Vileplume. This thing is really bulky, so the fact that I was able to do that, I'm pretty sure he was physically defensive, and the fact that that is stab definitely helped out a lot. But he gets to go into this thing, and I was almost 100% positive he was going to set up a Swords Dance there, because I would have died to the poison at the end of the turn anyway, and I know for a fact he is an SD Croc, but I'm going to go for a T-Bolt right here, and I'm assuming that's going to be able to knock him out from full. But I guess that actually did make sense, because as long as I had Heliolisk around, he would have been able to switch out anyway, so just cleaning me out, I guess, was probably the better of the plays there. And then he has his, last but not least, he's got his Mega Camera up left on the field, and I am actually just going to go ahead and go for a Surf and knock him out clean. I learned in a separate game, I think when he was fighting a different friend of ours, that that is actually a roll. The Surf doing that is actually a roll, but I don't remember whether or not I lost my Typhlosion against him anyway. So as long as Gator was gone, I think I could have cleaned up with just about anything else. I really don't remember if I used Typhlosion at all. But yeah, that was a game. Holy shit, that Malamar was freaking terrifying. And then I got one more game after this. So once again, I hope you guys are enjoying it so far. If you are, you can leave a like rating, comment, subscribe, and do your thing. You guys know how that works. And I will see you guys for the last one of our NU Tournament series later.